Okay guys, so this is the second video for tonight. I figured while I was doing annotations it'd be a really good idea just to put both of these videos up together. Again, if you are not going to be doing your exam in 2021, so if you're in current year 11, ready to sit your exams in the summer that's on the way, then you don't need to watch this video. This is predominantly for the year 10s or anybody sitting their exam in 2021 because they have released new newspaper front covers that are going to be on that exam spec. So going through this then, we've got a puff right at the top that illustrates the price is better against its competitors, and this makes the Sun stand out and also makes it more appealable to its demographic. We've got a red background on the masthead which indicates that this falls into that red top tabloid category, showing us that this is going to have a much lower reading age, and it's also going to have more entertainment style news rather than hard political news. Now within the masthead we've got a lot of other things as well, such as the date, we've got the slogan, we've got the price, and we've also got the website. Now this illustrates that the Sun is trying to sort of keep up with the times, and also to, not the Times, the newspaper, just with sort of society, to try and move into a more online sort of area. Other newspapers such as the Independent have done this already, but the Sun is sort of straddling that borderline like a lot of other papers at the moment. Having looked at the website, you can see there's a lot more content on there, so it's worthwhile the newspaper sort of self-advertising that. Other elements on the page also maintain this house style that we've got going on within the masthead through the red, white imagery that we've got going on there. So you can see that in the or symbol in the centre. Now, like many other front pages of the Sun, the headline is aggressive, it's confrontational, and if you compare these annotations to the ones for the year 11's version of the paper, then you can see that this is something that's very, very similar. Now, the demographic are likely to understand that, particularly if they buy the Sun regularly and this is part of their daily routine. It's also easy to understand given the low reading age of the paper. Now the background in this particular front cover is sort of made up of lots of different landmarks. Most of these landmarks come from the south of England, or the south of English as I've written there. So this could predominantly represent the people who voted for Brexit, and this could in a way give us the target demographic to the Sun as a whole. Now the opening of the article itself is actually really, really small, and it's only in the bottom right hand page, so this means that it's less relevant than the main headline itself. But the phrasing at the top of the page implies that this paper has more influence over the decision that MPs are going to make compared to other publications, so again making it stand out from the crowd. We've also got a political viewpoint very clearly being shown here. The paper itself tends to support the Conservatives, even though it's sort of flicked between both Conservative and Labour over time, and we've got a very positive bias towards Brexit being given to us on the front page here. Now, as well as the background including sort of predominant landmarks, we've also got a lot of bright high-key lighting and colours to indicate the positive aspects of Britain, and this gives us a bit of a cliched green and pleasant land sort of illustration, but it implies that we're only going to have this if we have the independence from the EU. The background is also this collage of different iconic landmarks such as Stonehenge, and we've got traditional British icons such as the fish and chip shop in the bottom corner. Now this gives a more patriotic viewpoint to the paper, which we also get through the masthead and the slogan within it, which says "For a Greater Britain," very much in keeping with this idea of Brexit. Finally, we've got a headline illustrating what's known as a nationalist movement, and this nationalism movement is sort of broken into sort of popular nationalism, which tends to distrust experts and instead sort of moves to control the common person by this personal pronoun, and also to try and get people feeling more patriotic and to get them feeling like this is down to them and that they have the power to do this. Now, breaking it down, obviously a large part of this front cover is going to be representation, and Brexit is the issue that we're looking at here. So this is represented as being a very positive experience for the UK. By leaving the EU, the traditional nationalist values of the Conservative Party are illustrated, and it's worthwhile mentioning that this is predominantly within the current Conservative Party rather than previous Conservative parties. The background also uses a lot of high key colours and lighting, which help to promote this picturesque, ideal version of the UK. And the paper's suggesting that we're going to go back to this green and pleasant land if we continue to push for Brexit and if we continue to push for leaving the EU. The language is sort of very directly addressing towards the demographic, which is a very poor way of phrasing it, but we've got things like you, we've got things that are recognisable, and this is a very common convention of the Sun front cover, which you can see even if you just look at the other annotation video. Now, the issues that are focusing on, or that we're focusing on here, are Brexit. So this illustrates that the sort of frequency part of news values. If you've not had a look at the theories video, it'd be worthwhile having a look at that so that you can get an understanding for news values. In terms of the industry, the paper targets a predominantly working class demographic, which we can see through the critical language on the front cover. Also, those recognisable locations that we've got in the background. It's also got a conservative ideology, so this might be why the majority of the locations are from the south of England, because obviously a lot of the people who voted to leave the EU came from the south. And it also presents Brexit in a more positive light, which is something that the Conservatives as a whole are trying to do. Now, our audience, as we had in the previous video, we're looking at a very young demographic, so 18 to 35, but they're going to be low on that ABC1 system, definitely within the strugglers or the resigned categories, whereas our secondary demographic are going to be higher, and they may also be succeeders or aspirers, people who've broken out of the traditional audience mould that we've got here. Here are our key terms for this video, slightly less than the last one, so again go through these, see if there are any that you know the definitions to, and for those that you don't, have a go at finding those out, jotting them down in your own words, maybe making some note cards, that's always really useful. If you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the button below. If you hit the little bell icon next to it, you get instant notifications every time I post a new video. You can also get in touch with me through Twitter at media_revision or in the comments section below. And I will see you guys next week for another video.